Move to KwaZulu-Natal, and the eThekwini Metro Municipality is yet to elect a city manager months after the departure of corruption-accused Sipho Nzuza. Now, for a province and an area that's been hit by devastating flooding and an area that needs to pick up economically after COVID-19, after the July riots, it is a really big problem. Let's speak now to our senior reporter, Siphandla Goge. Sipho, so why on earth is it taking so long to get this key position up and running?
Simple, it's just pure politics. There is no other excuse about it. There's been infighting within the ANC about the possible candidate recommended for the job in the past. There have been reports that the candidate who was recommended by the ANC or favored by the ANC was rejected. Of course, at the time, there was that leadership of Sihle Zikalala and Mr. Mtumiseni Ntuli. Now that there is a new leadership in the province in terms of the ANC politics, some are saying, well, things have moved, things have shifted, but the city has been without city manager for a very long time now. Since last year, if I'm not mistaken, they decided to part ways with the former city manager, Mr. Nzuza, who is one of the accused in the corruption case that is ongoing in eThekwini, which involves the former eThekwini mayor, Zandile Kumede. So for a very long time, opposition political parties felt that the process to appoint the city manager was not followed. They said they were not part of the panel. They were unhappy with the composition of that panel that interviewed, or should I say that selected and interviewed candidates before. When it came to the council, the recommendation came to the council, they decided to gang up and not vote in favor of the proposed candidate at the time. So the process had to be halted, restarted, and now it seems as if after almost a year, the process is not complete, even though the ANC leadership in KwaZulu-Natal is of the view that things are moving. The leadership of the municipality is of the view that they've done all they could. Now the process is about to be finalized. Remember, you are talking about the city's top job here. The city manager, eThekwini, has got a budget of more than 50 billion, if I'm not mistaken. The city needs an accounting officer who will ensure that he or she supports the executive when it comes to the issue of the provision of basic services. At the center of it, really, the people who are losing out here are the residents of eThekwini. This is the province's only metro. It's been through a lot in terms of the July unrest, COVID-19. Remember, Durban is known as Africa's playground. It was heavily affected by the hard lockdowns. Many businesses had to shut down, but also you come to the July unrest in 2021. All of those have affected the city, but most importantly, the recent floods. eThekwini is one of the heavily affected areas in KwaZulu-Natal during the recent floods. eThekwini Mayor Polisi Kaunda says, well, it's only a matter of weeks now. There will be a new city manager. Let's take a listen.
A total of 158 applications were received, and of those, 17 candidates were shortlisted. A screening process was conducted for all 17 shortlisted candidates as required. In addition to an interview, candidates also had to do presentations based on a case study that they were given. The next step is to finalize competency assessments. Once the panel has concluded all the steps in the process, a report will be presented to ESCO and to the council next week. Again, we are happy that there is progress achieved so far in this regard. Earlier on today, we met with the Auditor General. She also raised the concern about the unavailability of the city manager.
Yeah, it's got to get sorted out. And then the Deputy Mayor of eThekwini, Pelani Mavundla, he's been accused of receiving bribes to influence the recruitment process. I mean, it's just insane. Let's listen to his response and then we can have a brief chat afterwards.
The process is not going to derail because the parties that are part of the panel, you remember this time around, you have almost all the parties represented in that particular panel that is there. The way we do our interview, I'll even go to this, the way we do our interview, we even have a video is virtualize everything that we're doing there, because we knew things like that will come up. Now, if somebody said we've changed the scores, there will be the scorecard, and then there will be another scorecard that will come for us to change. Lastly, when we go into the panel, you are only given 9 papers if we're interviewing 9 people. You're not given 18 or 19. And those papers are numbers with somebody's name. So basically, how you change, if you change, obviously, on the scorecard, you'll now have to slash. You understand? Now, we haven't seen any of that. And the way we do that, why we're doing that so that should there be any issue, we can deal with it. If this person was serious, he should have gone to court with all the allegations he's making.
All right, so Sipho, where does that leave the city of eThekwini?
Well, the city of eThekwini is of the view that the deputy mayor, that is Mr. Mavundla, is dealing with this matter. The allegations come from someone who decided to send an email to Mayor Mxolisi Kaunda, some civic organizations and opposition political parties, alleging that Mr. Mavundla is trying to influence the outcome of this recruitment process of the city manager. Of course, Mr. Mavundla has denied those allegations. According to the email that was circulated, it says that Mr. Mavundla and some members of his family have been, given gifts, and it's something that he says, well, it's not true. Basically, he's of the view that those who are making those allegations are trying to sabotage the process of the appointment of the city manager. He says they want to ensure that there is chaos and instability. Now that this process is about to be concluded, he says if they feel strongly about the allegations that they are making, they must go to the police and open a case so that he can be investigated. Remember, he sits in the panel that is responsible for the shortlisting and the interviewing of the city manager, together with other members of other political parties, because before that was the gist of the complaint, that some opposition political parties were not part of the panel that is interviewing the city manager. Mr. Mavundla represents the mayor of eThekwini in that panel, and that's where they interview the city manager, or should I say those candidates that have applied. So he has dismissed all those allegations as baseless, and he says the fact that the email is not signed by a person who's making those allegations, it's all about tarnishing his name.
Right, so as you said right at the beginning, politics at play, it seems, which of course gets in the way of helping the people in that region who are desperate for homes, desperate for water to run again after those floods. That's senior reporter Siphandla Goge. And just to let